Have you spent hours crafting the perfect website copy or working with someone to craft the perfect website copy, only to use it once on your website and then never think about it again? Or maybe you're struggling to come up with fresh content for all those social media channels or your Google business profile, while that gold mine of content on your website sits untouched. Here's the truth: the beautiful, strategic website that you have invested in isn't just your online home. It's actually a content factory that most small business owners aren't fully using. Today, I'm going to talk about how to mine your website for content gold and transform it into social media posts, email sequences, videos, and so much more. And I will show you how you can use your website content to train AI to speak in your voice. Because if you're anything like me, you realize that AI is here to stay, and we might as well use it and make it work for us so that we don't have to work as hard as we always do. By the end of today's episode, you will have an idea of how to get more mileage out of the incredible content you've already created. Because you shouldn't have to work more to earn more in your business. Your website should be doing that heavy lifting for you. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B, web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Hello, welcome to the pod. I'm excited to have you here. If we haven't already met, I'm Jenny B, and I own Jenny B Designs. We're a brand and web design studio, and my passion is helping small business owners just like you design beautiful, but more importantly, strategic websites that truly attract their ideal clients, detract, push away, repel the clients that they don't want to work with, and make them more money. Because at the end of the day, your website needs to be making you money. It needs to work for you around the clock. My topic today is about how you can use your website to harvest content that you've already put so much time and thought into and make it do double work for you. Because let's be honest, we spend a lot of time making sure that our websites are set up properly with the content, the imagery, and having all those strategic calls to action. And we put it up there and we have it set out into the world so they can attract those ideal clients. But what else can we do to utilize all that work that we put into there? And I want to talk about how we can repurpose your content. Your website content, it deserves multiple lives. You've already put this investment in. And if you can repurpose the content into your overall marketing strategy, you are essentially taking away some of the work that you have to do to get more content out there. And it helps maintain consistent messaging throughout all your different channels. I talk a lot about matching your website to your social media profiles. In fact, I actually host a online business makeover workshop for small business owners, ensuring that they have consistency between all the channels that they're out there in the world with, their website, their social media, etc. And when you are able to harvest that content that you have on your website and use it for other platforms, it helps maintain the consistency of messaging. As well, there are SEO benefits because you are using that content in other places. And Google is getting to see you use the same words and the same sentiments across different channels. And this as well helps you across all areas of search and as well through AI search engines. Because let's be honest, AI is kind of taking over everything, and we're finding that more people are doing searching on ChatGPT or other AI platforms. And having this consistent messaging helps you be found more because you do have that consistency across the different platforms. Today, I have 7 points I want to share with you, different ways you can repurpose your content and give you some ideas of what you can do with them. The first area that I want to talk about is your homepage. And the most important part of your homepage is your hero section. I talk about this all the time. When someone lands on your website, You need to capture their attention in 3 seconds or less. That hero section, that messaging is critical to who you are, how you help someone, and how you can make someone's life better. It's your unique value proposition. And you can repurpose this in a few different ways. The first one is I would suggest repurposing this into your social media bios, where you can write a little bit more about who you help and how you help them. You can also use this for your email newsletter if you have headers, or your LinkedIn header. You can create a graphic using the words that you have in your hero section. You can also think about transforming your hero section messaging into some social posts on your homepage. If you have some credibility statistics or metrics, sometimes for small businesses, they like to share how many clients served or how many areas geographic areas that they've served, things like that. Anything that you have metrics on, you can repurpose that into an infographic. And there are so many great AI infographic tools that you can use. I know there is Vengage, Vennngage, and also PictoChart. Those are tools that you can put in your information, your metrics, and they will help you create infographics. But that's something you can do with your metrics on your homepage. As well, if you have client testimonials on your homepage, which I always suggest that you do, you can repurpose those for social proof across a wide variety of platforms, including your Google Business Profile. When I say social media platforms, I include this Google Business Profile as one of them. You should be using that and posting on your GBP as much as possible. Those are ways that you can transform your homepage content and have it have a second life. Let's talk about your services page. For this one, you can break down your service descriptions. If you spend some time, perhaps you have 3 different offerings, break it down into a series of educational posts. You can share who this particular service is for, how it helps them, so that people can self-identify if they want to work with you. And then you move on to your service number 2 and write a second post. And these posts, again, can live on all your social media platforms. They can also live on a blog post. You could create a blog post that has all of your different services and your descriptions and who it's for, and create a long form blog post on your website. So this is having our service page do double duty. You're breaking it down for social media, but you're also creating a blog post that has to do with your services and breaking it down a little bit more. You could create a comparison graphic showing your approach versus alternatives. Perhaps you have a signature process. You can create a graphic showing your process and then perhaps your competitor's process so people can see the alternatives. On services pages, a lot of times we see FAQs. You can turn these FAQs into individual posts, or perhaps creating some content for your Google Business Profile. Create a couple of posts on your Google Business Profile about these FAQs. Add an FAQ to your Google Business Profile. And if you have benefits on your services page, write these down and use them in conversations as you are out and about in the world, meeting people and networking. A lot of times we just talk about our USP, what makes us special, as we talked about on your homepage, those words that grab people's attention. But can you talk about the benefits that someone has when they work with you? For example, when someone works with me, one of the benefits is that they finally have clarity about their brand and they are excited to share their website. So I can talk about how I worked with one of my clients, Christy, who we launched a few weeks ago. We launched her website, and all of a sudden, you could see her on social media talking about her business, sharing about the clients that she worked with, and driving people to her website. All of a sudden, she had this confidence and this excitement about her new brand, and she wanted to share it with the world. That is one of the benefits that I bring to my clients that they get from working with me. Use these as conversation starters when you're out meeting people in the world. It's all about those stories and how you can bring people into your world. Instead of just saying, I'm a website designer for small businesses, I can share with, I help my clients make money online by showing up as they truly are with a new website that attracts ideal clients. And talk about stories. like Christy, who hadn't been sharing anything on social media or talking to her peers about her new business. And then all of a sudden, when she had this new business, she was out there sharing. What can you use from your services page and give it a second life? Now let's move on to your blog. This is a third area, blog repurposing. If you do have a blog on your website and you've spent so much time writing this content, there are a few things. Quick question. Are you frustrated with your website? Not sure why it isn't converting? I would love to help. That's why I offer my website coaching calls. In just 50 minutes, we'll uncover what's holding your site back and create a plan to fix it. Whether you need help with design, content, or strategy, I'll give you the clear steps to move forward. Click the link in the show notes to book your coaching call today, and let's make your website your best marketing tool. Now back to the episode. You can do. The first thing you can do is, if you have a long post, you could break it into a social media carousel if you're spending time on social media. You could do a series. You could create a mini video series that could live on your website, live on social media, live on both. Think about what can you do with that blog post. Maybe you want to create some how-to content, some video tutorials. If you have a long blog post that is essentially a teaching post, can you create a video and then repurpose it onto YouTube? Maybe you make that video, you put it on YouTube, and YouTube, of course, is a search engine, so people are able to find you there. But then you also embed that video onto your blog post, and then you've just enriched the content on the blog post. Everything comes full circle, and you can just keep going round and round and making your content keep working for you. If you have a long blog post, you could also create a resource or a guide. Perhaps you want to have another opt-in, an irresistible freebie, as I like to call it. If you have a blog post that has a lot of content, can you repurpose that and make a guide to go along with it? And then if you have statistics, like I talked about on your homepage, if you have statistics in a blog post, think about creating a graphic, an infographic, and then of course you can share that on all the social media platforms. Moving on to the next page, your About page. This one tends to have more information. It's having people get to know you, meet the team. Perhaps you have core values or any personal elements that make your brand more relatable. For example, on mine, I have things that I like and dislike. My favorite show growing up, which was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. People get to know me, little elements that make my brand more fun. You can use things like those fun elements in social media. You spend time putting together that About page, make it work for you. Grab that information, create some social posts. If you have core values, think about repurposing that into perhaps a blog post on your blog, getting into more detail about your core values. You can repurpose that onto LinkedIn. Maybe you create an article. Perhaps you create some thought leadership pieces and you submit it to a couple of different outlets. You can use your core values in many different ways. If you have a Meet the Team section or any behind the scenes content, people love seeing that. Harvest that from your About page and then create some posts and add to it. And maybe you can even continue a series. Maybe you have a behind the scenes series or a Meet the Team series on social media. It all starts with what you have on the About page, and then you keep adding to it. And then finally, if you have a story, and I know so many of us spend time writing a story for our About page, think about breaking that up for your email welcome series. When someone signs up for your list, most likely you have a welcome series, perhaps 3 to 5 emails that shares a little bit more about who you are, what you believe, how you can help someone. Think about how you can repurpose that content from your About page into these emails, because we spend so much time on that page already. So let's make it work double for us. Now, the fifth area is testimonials and case studies. Of course, we all have testimonials on our website. Always talking about social proof. You have it on every single page of your website. Think about grabbing those testimonials and creating some graphics. You can use those graphics on social media. You can use those graphics in email newsletters. You can pop them in blog posts, wherever they might be useful. You can also create some before and after transformation content. If you do have case studies on your website, like I do, I have a lot of website design case studies. This is what their website looked like before they came to me. This is after, and this is what we accomplished in the project. Create some before and after transformational content that you can use on social media. I do that a fair amount, and I try to make sure that it's educating. It all starts with that case study on my blog, which is very detailed, and then I'm picking up pieces from that and using it on social media. I also like to repurpose that for my email newsletters, repurposing that blog content and adding it to those email newsletters. And if you have metrics again in these case studies or these testimonials, make an infographic. We all love visuals. That's such an easy way for someone to digest information. So think about what numbers you have on your testimonials or your case studies or truly any page on your website. And what can you create? What kind of infographic can you create to share that data? Now, the number 6 thing I want to talk about is training AI with your website content. And this is something that I did, I would say, mid through my journey with AI. Truth be told, I use AI in a number of areas in my business. It has helped me be so much more productive and to be able to focus more on my clients and less on marketing and my content. I use it for repurposing, which I'm going to talk about next, creating a content repurposing system, and I'll come back to how AI helps me with that. But I use it for repurposing content for ideation, thinking of ideas, as well as helping me come up with outside of the box ways of how I can do something. I guess problem solving for me. But when you think about working with AI, if you are repurposing a lot of your content, your website copy can really teach AI your brand voice, and it creates that content repository, I guess is the right word, for AI to reference. And what I have done, I tend to use Claude for a lot of my workflow. ChatGPT has this same tool, but you're able to create projects. And inside Claude, I have a project that is an AI trained on my brand voice. And my brand voice comes from my website content. I have copied the content from every single page on my website, as well as sharing with it some podcast episodes that I have recorded and blog posts that I have written so that the AI can really get an idea of my brand voice. I've also added my FAQ to train AI on my processes and what I believe. And when you do that, when you harvest the copy from your website, because what you put on your website, and this is the assumption that I'm making, is that that's your brand voice. You have written this. This is how you want to show up into the world. You have put a lot of thought and feeling into this website copy. When you do that and you train the AI on your brand voice, sometimes it works even better than if I were actually going to write something myself out of the blue. And what it does is it maintains that consistency between everything that you write. Your website, your social media, your blog posts, anything that you share online, it is trained on your brand voice. And I'm not saying that everything's going to come out perfect on the first try. In fact, I'm saying that it's not going to. But what I found is that when I was able to train it on my voice, the content that I get back sounds like me, and it is able to remember and draw back to points that I've made throughout my content. For example, I use AI to help me do outlines for my podcast. And what I will do is I will share the podcast title that I want to use and bullet points that I have written out about the episode and kind of key points that I want to highlight. And then I ask it to create an outline for me and add anything from its own knowledge and the knowledge that it has of me. And sometimes what happens is that, first of all, I get an outline that is filled with the information that I want to share, but it's put in an easy to digest, chronological way to explain it that makes most sense to you. But the AI also adds some information that sometimes I may have forgotten to share. For example, it might say, as I'm talking about how I like to share content on the homepage, I want you to transform your hero section. It might also share that I have episode 15, the 6 secrets to a money-making homepage, that shares about that USP. And as I am recording my podcast, it makes mention of this in the outline as I'm talking about the homepage content. I may have forgotten that in episode 15, I recorded this Secret for the Homepage episode, but AI knows from the content that I've shared with it, and it is reminding me. And there are so many ways that AI is helping me kind of put all the pieces together and to have that consistency. And it's a great way to be able to train your AI by using your website copy. Now, let's talk about my final tip that I want to share with you, creating a content repurposing system. This is a workflow to help identify ways that you can repurpose your content and a tool that makes repurposing easier. For me, it's AI, but whatever you want to use to make this repurposing easier is a tool that will help you. And then you're going to build a content calendar based on how you're going to repurpose your content. For me, this is what my workflow looks like. I start with my podcast. That is my biggest piece of content. And I'm repurposing that into my blog posts, social media posts, my email newsletter, my Google business profile. That's the flow for me. For you, maybe it starts with your blog posts. That is your long form content and you're repurposing that. Maybe you want to start with your website. Perhaps you don't have a content calendar and you're not creating consistent content. Start with your website. Can you create a system with perhaps you're going to repurpose the homepage for the next month, and then the following month you're going to do the about page. That will get you through at least 3 months of content if you're going to repurpose a page a month. That is a lot of information that you can be sharing out. Think about what kind of content repurposing system that you can use. So I know I came at you with a lot, but I wanted to share that your website can work hard for you, and it can work hard in a totally different way, in this content repurposing way, so that you can have it do double duty for you. I have a challenge for you. I want you to think about 3 pieces of content that you can repurpose this week. Maybe you're looking at your homepage and you pick out 3 items that you want to repurpose. Maybe it's from the About page or the Services page. Think back to what I shared and pick out 3 pieces that you can repurpose. And it doesn't have to be, 3 days worth of content. Maybe you want to do 1 piece a week. It's all about working smarter and not harder. And if you feel like your website content isn't accurately reflecting you and your business, and you want help making your website work a little bit better for you, more strategically to attract more ideal clients, then I encourage you to book a website consultation call in the link below, and we can chat about what you have going on and how I can help get you to the next level. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.